Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Thursday, October 6th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. The fallout continues for Hockey Canada over its handling of sexual assault allegations and a perceived lack of action by the organization. Today, Canadian Tire Corporation announced they are permanently ending sponsorship for Hockey Canada. This after the Bank of Nova Scotia, TELUS, and Tim Hortons also announced they're pulling sponsorship of the men's events for the 2022-23 season. Hockey Quebec announced they are withholding transfer fees to Hockey Canada effective immediately, and other provincial hockey organizations are expected to follow suit. Hockey Nova Scotia is expected to hold a board meeting next week to decide their course of action here in the province. The World Juniors are being held this December in Halifax and Moncton. The Halifax Police Commission has released details of its extra duty policy amid concerns around officers working security at private businesses like grocery stores. Police force representatives told commissioners at a meeting Wednesday evening that extra duty services have been long-standing in Halifax and across the country, where they get extra pay for providing services at special events and businesses that are normally part of their policing duties.
Primarily, those duties are done and hired out as police officers, wearing the uniform and those kind of things. So we do races. We do security at races. We most recently, that's been in the news, been asked and hired to work at a superstore, the NSLC. We work at liquor establishments downtown based on an application process that the buyer, so to speak, of the services puts in place.
In off-duty work, police don't wear a uniform and they're not armed. This work can be wide-ranging, things like woodworking or DJing. They must be approved first.
Which is where members are choosing to do duties other than police work, other than police, train duties in their off time.
The commission did not address concerns expressed by citizens about the appropriateness of armed police officers working in places like grocery stores. For the first time in a long time, there are no new deaths related to COVID-19 being reported in Nova Scotia. There are 1,178 new cases and 51 new hospital admissions for the 7-day period ending October 3rd. As of October 4th, there were 46 people in hospital and 4 in the ICU. The United Way is partnering with other community groups to make a case for community land trusts in the Halifax Regional Municipality. Land trusts ensure affordable housing is kept affordable for generations. SaltWire's Jen Taplin has the details.
Community land trusts are nonprofit groups that own properties with the purpose of keeping housing affordable forever. Kevin Hooper with United Way Halifax said there are many potential properties in the city, like the Shannon Park area in Dartmouth or the Bloomfield property in Halifax, that would be perfect for community land trusts.
The hope would be that we can kind of get access to some of these land resources that are in our community in one form or another. That could be bare land, that could be, vacated sites, that could be fresh land, that could be, existing facilities. But ultimately, the idea would be that the community land trust would take possession of those, own them, and manage them in perpetuity, forever, and run them in the interest of community.
Halifax's housing crisis is largely based in systemic issues, and there is a large gap where it comes to developing affordable housing, Hooper said.
The private sector, frankly, has their hands full right now with projects that are more in line with their business interests. The provincial government is getting out of public housing to some degree. And, a lot of the nonprofits in our area just simply don't have the capacity to take on major projects. So as far as we're concerned, establishing a nonprofit organization with a responsibility and the capacity, the professional resources to take on property management and potentially development would really benefit the community.
Residents in Upper Hammonds Plains are worried about not having much or any say on the rapid development happening there, so they formed a community land trust about 2 years ago.
A community land trust in Upper Hammonds Plains is going to be a mechanism for us to do a number of different things. It's hopefully going to lead to the development of affordable housing for our community, but it's also starting a very important conversation about land use planning in our community and strategies for us to really take control of a number of different parcels in our community and be able to hopefully influence developments that really help the people that have been living here for over 200 years.
The United Way received a grant from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation to investigate community land trusts in Halifax. Hooper said they hope to have a plan in place by next summer and will be on the lookout for an operator to run it. In Halifax Regional Municipality, I'm Jen Taplin for the SaltWire Network.
The fallout from Fiona continues, with many Maritimers still picking up the pieces and waiting for the power to come back on. Almost 2 weeks after post-tropical storm Fiona pounded PEI's North Shore, Parks Canada has given the SaltWire Network access to a guided tour of the damaged coastlines.
PEI's North Shore remains in ruins after Canada's worst weather event on record pounded the island almost 2 weeks ago. On October 5th, Parks Canada invited SaltWire Network on a guided tour of the coastline from Brackley to Dalvey, one of the hardest hit areas by post-tropical storm Fiona.
The park experienced fairly significant damage, all three regions, Cavendish, Brackley, Dalvey, and Greenwich. We're seeing, based on these very initial assessments, between 3 and 10 meters of coastal erosion, and so the before and after from the beaches will definitely be quite stark for people when they're able to return. As well, there's a lot of downed trees, so the forest will look fairly different as well.
At Stanhope, infrastructure leading to the beach was washed away by the storm surge. At the nearby campground, the damage is catastrophic, with Parks only just starting to get a grasp on how bad the situation truly is.
Our initial work is focused on first assessing the impacts of the storm on the ecosystem as well as on Parks Canada infrastructure, and also there's been a fair amount of focus on clearing that access so those assessments can take place.
The beaches remain closed to the public as of October 5th. Until assessments are complete, it remains unclear when residents and visitors will be able to return to the beaches safely.
Coastal ecosystems are dynamic, and erosion is a part of the natural landscape. This is a fairly significant amount of erosion, and so we don't necessarily have a full understanding of what the longer-term implications of that are, and that those are some of the questions that our ecologists will be studying over the weeks and months and years into the future as we move forward.
Many of these dune systems along PEI's North Shore will likely take years to recover. As far as cost, it will likely be in the thousands to clear all of the trees. For the SaltWire Network in Dalvey, Prince Edward Island, I'm Rafe Wright.
It's time for Prices at the Pumps with fuel price insider Dan McTagg. Dan shares his insights on where gas and diesel prices may be headed at midnight in Nova Scotia.
OPEC was going to have that meeting. There was going to be a supply cut. And guess what? That's going to lead to much higher prices. So you heard it first here on SaltWire Network, right across the province. If you didn't fill up last week, then you may want to do that before tomorrow. Because here in the province, we're going to see what could be a total of a 7 cent a liter increase. Might be higher, might be a little lower than that. It just depends on the province and the NSURB's formula. But generally speaking, the rest of the country has seen this increase. Newfoundland saw an increase of about 6 cents a liter. So safe bet that it's going to be a little bit more. You have an extra day of trading, and during that extra day of trading, gasoline went up a smidgen. So best case scenario, it's only a 6 1/4 increase, but more likely a 7 cent increase for gasoline. For diesel, you're looking at about an 8 to 9 cent increase. And so if you happen to be using heating oil or anything like that, look for about an 8 cent, 9 cent increase as well.
And Dan will be back next week on Prices at the Pumps. Time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with a Pictou County woman who has been without power for almost 2 weeks, and with a member of Halifax Regional Fire helping with the cleanup.
Yeah, I've heard people call it extreme camping in the house, and it's not fun at all. And any words for the crews that have been working to get the power back restored?
Very thankful, very thankful. I feel bad. There's so many from the States that are here, from New Brunswick, from Quebec. And people, they are working their hardest, and we have to realize these people have been away from their families for 13 days. Just as much as we've been without power, they've been away from their families. At least we're here with our family. They're not. So that, we have to kind of think of that for them.
When people see you folks roll up or see someone there to help, I'm sure they're quite pleased given how frustrating it must be for them after almost 2 weeks.
No different than what you just said, Sheldon. A lot of people don't know that we have a USAR team here in Halifax. This was actually our first deployment, which was great to help people close to us in Halifax. So I guess the shock of some people, like, you're from Halifax, what are you doing up here? That was kind of cool for us.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of saltwire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
Thanks, Kate. Coach Darren Burns from Acadia Axemen Men's Hockey is in his 23rd year coaching the club. Can you believe it's been that long?
No, not really. And, it's been very energetic and I'm excited, but no, it's hard to believe it's been that long. And I just shake my head at it, to be honest.
You played your first game of the regular season last night, a 5-2 win versus Dalhousie. Break down the 2022-23 edition of the Acadia Axemen, please.
Well, I think we're a youthful team. We're energetic. I think we have probably about 10 new players, and obviously a lot of guys in their second year as well. So we lost a lot of guys last year to graduation, and lost quite a few guys to professional. So it opened up a huge recruiting year. But we really, really like what we see so far. It's all about opportunity this year and a resurgence. I mean, we're very proud of our program here at Acadia, but, for a lot of people in a lot of different realms of sport, the last couple of years have been fragmented, and it's a great opportunity for an incoming group to really reestablish the importance of Acadia hockey here on campus, in the community, and certainly in youth sport. And we like what we see so far.
The next game for Acadia is this Saturday night, 7 p.m. puck drop at home. It'll be the X-Men and the Axemen. In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now to see what's coming up in the forecast. We're going to check in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Thanks, Kate. Well, not a nice day here in the Halifax area. It was very soggy. Thankfully, found a bit of shelter under this gazebo. The rain, courtesy of what was once Hurricane Ian, the remnants of that system, now very post-tropical, but some heavy downpours and thunderstorms moving through today. And that rain and risk of storms and downpours does taper off to a chance of showers as we go through the evening. And we'll see the temperature near 14 degrees. Mainly cloudy waking up Friday morning near 13. As we head into the afternoon, likely remaining mostly cloudy. However, I do think the best shot at any sun in the mix will be in the afternoon. And it will be mild with the temperature heading up to 19 degrees for the daytime high. Changes, though, as we head into the upcoming long weekend. A frontal boundary will arrive Friday night for the first half of Saturday. That will bring a chance of showers back into the mix. We clear for the second half of Saturday, and the rest of the long weekend overall not looking bad, but it will be a lot cooler with high temperatures only in the low teens. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. We leave you today with a very wet and rainy look at what's been one of the busiest cruise passenger days for the Port of Halifax. The city welcomed 4 cruise ships this morning with a total of around 10,000 guests. The ships include the Caribbean Princess, Adventure of the Seas, Enchanted Princess, and Ocean Explorer. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.